Hello, it's Tim from Fair Play Now on the 22nd of September 2025. So I don't know if you've seen this article that came out over the weekend from the Daily Mail, but it's actually entitled "Starmer will unveil a digital ID scheme at Labour's conference as he bids to tackle migrant crisis, but critics brand cards dystopian." So we all know about digital IDs, how the government's been wanting to bring these things in for many years, best part of 20 or 25 years even. And if they do come in, it's going to be very bad news indeed, because then they'll have access to basically all of your data. It's all going to be in one central place, which they can access very easily and use against you in any way they want. And then they can then use it to usher in social credit sort of scoring system for all citizens. And that would be very dystopian indeed, because it's okay if you conform with all the government diktats, and with this government you might like them and you might think, well, that's easy enough, but you've got to think ahead about the time when a government might come in that you don't like, or they start coming out with policies that you don't like. All of a sudden, what are you going to do? Because any criticism will lower your social credit score, and then your life will start becoming very difficult indeed. So I would suggest that our course of action going forward would be to strongly resist these digital IDs. Really resist them, obviously using peaceful means, protests and all the rest of it, campaigns, telling people, informing people how bad they will be, and hopefully sort of kick this whole thing into touch. We've done it before. We did it sort of 25 years ago, kick the whole digital ID card, or ID card as it was back then, into touch, and we can do it again. But I'll just read out the first few lines of this article. Sir Keir Starmer is expected to unveil plans to introduce digital identification cards for people living in the UK at the Labour Party conference this month, which starts in about a week's time from now. Starmer is determined to plough ahead with a scheme which is part of efforts to overhaul the country's asylum and immigration system. So apparently the PM has been exploring the idea, digital ID cards that is, in recent weeks. Well, that's a joke. He's been exploring the idea, as have they all, over recent decades, more like, rather than recent weeks. He is also saying, well, apparently earlier this month, the PM said that digital IDs could play an important part in making Britain less attractive to illegal migrants. So that's how they're selling it, isn't it? They're going to say, well, we need these digital IDs because it's going to stop the immigration. Of course, that's become a very, very big issue this year. You have to wonder why, because I don't know about you, but I've known about these people in the small boats coming over for a good 5.5 years. It first came on my radar kind of during the first lockdown, and it's probably been going on sort of longer than that as well. And yet it's taken all the way up until whenever it was, the start of this year, was it? Maybe the end of last year, when sort of more mainstream people started talking about it. Before then, they weren't really talking about it. They weren't really concerned. And in fact, if you'd sort of talked about the small boats crisis 4 or 5 years ago, the same people who are moaning about it now would have probably called you a conspiracy theorist back then. Oh yeah, that's just conspiracy theorist stuff, mate. Don't worry about it. That would have been their reaction a few years ago. And yet all of a sudden, here everybody is up in arms complaining about it. I'm not sort of saying they're right or wrong in complaining about it. I haven't really gone on about that particular issue on this channel very much in the past. I've just sort of been following it, of course, and seeing what is going to happen with it. And I think I've sussed out what is going on there. It's typical problem, reaction, solution stuff, isn't it? So the problem has come about, probably generated by the powers that shouldn't be, who actually want these digital IDs to come in. Of course, they're getting the reaction now by sort of mentioning the issue more and more in the mainstream papers and the mainstream media, and that has generated the reaction. Everybody up and down the country are now kind of moaning and complaining about illegal immigration, want something done about it, and the government are now saying, well, the solution we've got is going to be digital IDs. Oh, and by the way, other benefits as well as sort of making the country less attractive for illegal immigrants will be that it's a lot easier for you to prove your identity, sort of verify your identity whenever you're going for a new job or accessing national health services or NHS services, should I say, etc., etc. It will make your life a lot easier as well. And a lot of people, probably most people in this country, will be, well, we don't really like the idea of it, but if it's going to solve these problems and make life easier, yeah, we'll go ahead with it. So what we need to do is to tell people what the wider picture is, which kind of the likes of you, probably if you're watching this and me, know, but sort of many people don't, is we really need to kind of tell people that look, these digital IDs, if they come in, it's going to be a lot more than what they're telling you, and the future they take us into will not be pleasant at all, because the social credit system is appalling. And as one person I saw recently described it, it is slavery, basically. If you sort of think, why is this bloke complaining so much about a social credit system, score system sort of thing? Well, it's because it is digital slavery. Sure, the actual chains and manacles might not be on your wrists and ankles physically, but you will be chained digitally. And one kind of example of that is if you've put too many anti-government sort of posts on whatever social media, they're doing something you don't like, you put a few too many posts on there, maybe you've been to sort of a protest march in London or wherever it might be, well, the government will lower your score. All of a sudden you're going to find you can't access various things. You can't buy a plane ticket or a train ticket. You can't sort of buy certain things from shops, and they could do that with everything. If they think you're drinking a little bit too much alcohol beyond recommended government limits, all of a sudden you won't be able to buy sort of a bottle of wine. You won't be able to buy meat if they sort of think you've eaten too much meat and they want to lessen people's dependence or sort of enjoyment of meat products. It could go in any direction like that. And if you sort of think, well, none of that bothers me, I'm vegan, I don't drink, that's not going to bother me at all. Well, maybe you also own a cat, let's say, and a lot of these people who love the idea of digital IDs also think we shouldn't have pets. As crazy as that sounds, there are literally people out there, radical activists, who think that we shouldn't have pets because it raises a household's carbon footprint or whatever it is. And they might bring in a policy in years to come, well, you can't have a pet and we're not going to let you buy any pet food or whatever it might be. And then you're stuck. And because you've accepted digital ID cards, you're not going to be able to reverse the situation. So anyway, I think it's something we need to fight against and protest against. And I can tell you what, if there's going to be talks and sort of marches in London about it, etc., etc. I will be going on those, along to those, and covering those as best as I can. And it's something I think we need to do. Anyway, I'll be back soon, but I'll leave it there for now. Tim from Fair Play Now, thanks for watching.